What's going on, everyone? One of the most common questions I get is what are the best virtual credit cards, specifically if I'm running Facebook ads or TikTok ads or Google ads, or really just if you want multiple employee cards, right? Or multiple cards in general. There's obviously the common ones, which we're going to cover, like Chase and Amex, and we'll talk about the pros and cons of both. But I'm going to show you one at the end of this video that's super cool, that has made this process a million times easier compared to what we had to do a year or two ago with the great options that were out already when it comes to rewards credit cards that give you typically like a 3x or a 4x on every dollar you spend on ads, but also with having multiple cards in general, right? This new thing I found that I came across is going to absolutely change the game for you, specifically if you have Amex already. So make sure to stay to the end of the video. Let's go and jump into my computer and walk you through some of the best ones. All right, so the first one I'm going to cover is the one I've been preaching for years now, and I still use this. And I'm going to show you a little hack that's going to actually allow you to 10x the points you're eligible to earn. And this is the American Express Business Gold Card. And the reason why this card is amazing and worth every penny that you pay, the $300 annual fee, it's totally worth it, because if you're a high spender in online advertising and Facebook ads, whatever platform you choose, you're probably going to spend $100,000 at some point over the course of the year, right? And the value of those points far exceeds $300. So that in itself should be the reason why you get this card, okay? And you can see here, now they do 4x. Originally, it was 3x, and then they revamped the Business Gold Reward Card, and now it's 4x, which is freaking amazing. So, yeah, and there's a signing bonus as well. And you can see you pick two categories, and you get to apply it to those two categories. So if you spend like $50K on flights for some crazy reason, and then you also spend $50K on ads, then you would hit your $100,000 in the year cycle, and that would give you a 4x on that $100,000 you spend, which is obviously 400,000 points. And then everything after should be 1 point per dollar spent, which is not bad either, actually. The way to think about this, specifically with Amex, I believe with most of the rewards credit cards, is that you want to think of one point, for example, for every dollar is basically like a 1% discount. Okay, so think about that. But this card is awesome. I'll include a link to the description in this video, right? And also a little hack. They don't tell you this. You have to ask them, but you can open up to 10 Amex business rewards or cards, right? So Amex business gold cards. You can open up 10 accounts, okay? So that would actually qualify you for $1 million. Your first $1 million, so first $100,000 you spend in your select categories per card, you could basically go like, let's say you're going to spend $1 million in ads, right? The first $100K you spend all on one account. As soon as you hit the cap, then you stop spending on that card, you switch the card, you plug in the card from the second account, you can max that one out. Obviously, there's a $3,000 annual fee with that, but it totally makes sense if you play the game right. You should at least be 3 to 4xing your money if I'm doing the math correctly on that, and plus the signing bonus too, right? And on top of this, you can get up to 99 additional employee cards. So if you need a unique card for every ad account, which is a typical best practice, right? I don't always follow that, but it's a typical best practice. This will 100% help you, okay? And the last benefit I find with Amex is this is a charge card. You need to pay the whole thing off, whatever your statement balance closes at on like the 13th or the 15th. If you have like $50K on there, that needs to be cleared or interest starts accruing if you don't pay it by your payment due date, right? So this helps a ton with cash flow, especially if you're in drop shipping, or let's say you're in affiliate marketing where you get paid every week or every 2 weeks or once a month. You know, this will help you rack up your ad spend, front load your card, basically not have to worry about a spend limit that usually comes with most credit cards, because this is a charge card. It's not a credit card. So it's flexible limit. There's a limit, but it's unsaid, and you need to basically like push your spend as hard as you can to really see where that limit is. But that limit also increases naturally the more you spend, the more you hit it, and the more you pay consistently. The second card is going to be the Chase Inc. Business Preferred. It's very similar to, obviously, annual fee is much lower. There is a signing bonus, right? So just like 15K in the first 3 months, you'll burn through that in like a month if you're spending money on ads usually. And then you get 3 points for every dollar on the first 150,000 spent. Now I haven't, full disclosure, I just started using this car like 3 months ago, so I don't know the actual full value of each point, but from what I've read and seen, it's pretty similar to the value of Amex Gold or Amex points in general, right? So this can once again be applied to your ad spend. You can get I think unlimited employee cards. I actually haven't tested it enough. I've only generated like 10 or 15 cards. And yeah, this thing's awesome. And it's much cheaper, obviously. It's $100 instead of $300. But I believe Amex has more transfer partners. So the way, if you want to maximize your points, is you actually want to transfer them out of Amex typically to a partner airline and then buy directly through the airline, because a lot of times they'll be like in September there was a 30 or 50% bonus on specific airlines like Avianca, Qantas. These airlines were giving, if you transfer your Amex points to these airlines, you would basically get a bonus like 30 or 50%, which you need to do the math, and because sometimes they mark up the prices if you buy through the website versus going through Amex travel, right? So you need to do the math on this stuff, but this 100% could be a way to maximize the point value. If at the very least, even just using these with Amex Travel directly is not a terrible deal, and it's free money if you really think about it the way I do, right? So those are the 2 cards that I would recommend the most, specifically if you're in the US. But I'm going to show you something that's going to completely change the game for you and not require you to have tons of physical credit cards from Amex. So make sure to stick through this video. But I'm going to show you 2 more that I recommend, or at least 2 more. And these are going to be if you're outside the US, because unfortunately these points systems typically only work for the US cards. And yeah, I'm going to walk you through these now. Okay, so I'm going to talk about first one for pretty much anyone outside the US or within that I'm not going to recommend. And let me explain why. This is Wise, formerly known as TransferWise, was one of my favorite tools to use. It's an online bank, right? And with multiple currencies, it made sending money a freaking breeze. And if you're sending to another Wise account, another customer with Wise, it was super fast and fees were basically nothing. They shut my account down for absolutely no reason. And they've been doing this to a lot of people. And it's an account I've had for years. I only received payments from clients, and I had no issues as far as like chargebacks or anything like that. And yeah, they just randomly shut me down and they gave no explanation. They held my money for almost a month. So I'm going to not recommend using Wise, period, whether it's for banking or for your own virtual cards. If you have a Wise account and you want to, it actually, when I applied for the Wise virtual cards, literally within 2 minutes after that, that's when my account got shut down. So I don't know if I triggered something in their system, but the decision was final. It was a pain in the butt to get my money back. I had like almost $100,000 locked in my Wise account because I had no idea this was possible. It's a bank. I've never gone through something like that with my own US banks. So I would not recommend them, but from what I've been told, it's pretty good. As far as like the usability, using Wise was amazing. It was one of the best banks I've ever used, right? But obviously what happened makes me want to not recommend that you ever use Wise. Make a wise decision if this is the right one for you. But these can be a great option. Specifically, if you have a Wise account already, just don't keep a lot of money in your account or else you'll go through what I did. Stripe issuing, what do they call it? Stripe issuing virtual cards are pretty darn good. You also won't have typically the same verification issues that you run into sometimes with physical cards when adding them to a Facebook ad account. The only downside is that it's very slow to add money because it treats it like a debit card, not like a credit card, right? So you have to preload the card, and then you have to wait for the funds to arrive in credit, which can be like 5 to 7 business days, pain in the butt. and then you could start spending the money on the card, right? So the cards work great, and you could generate them literally on the fly. I don't think there's a limit, so this is a great option if you don't mind loading up your cards and like preloading like 10 or 20 grand, for example, in cash, right? Onto your account. This can be a great option, right? But I'm going to show you something that's going to completely change the game for you, like I mentioned. So make sure to stick through this video, and that's going to it's going to have the best of both worlds when it comes to cash flow, multiple cards, and everything else. And then the next one, I've not used this myself, but I have several friends that have because they got screwed by Wise, just like I did. And it's Revolut. So Revolut is great. You can make unlimited virtual cards, as far as I know. I'm not aware of all of the expenses and costs and everything. You just have to look through this. There's a business plan from my understanding. But look, here you go. So there's a free tier. There's 2,500. Yeah, I just haven't used this. I haven't had to. But it looks like you get virtual cards even with a free tier. So look at this, mainly if you're outside the US too, right? So, but I'd imagine there's a prepayment fee. It looks like the more you're paying on the monthly subscription, the lower your transaction fees are, right? So that's obviously a perk, but this would be, once again, I don't know how fast these cards top up. I don't know the ins and outs of it, but this is a great option from everyone I've spoken with that has used this. I've not heard a bad thing about Revolut. Now, Air Wallets, once again, just like Revolut, I haven't personally used it, but I've just heard great things. Make sure to do your own research with these two. I just want to include these because I talk to a lot of people that are outside the U.S. that don't have access to Amex and Chase and maybe aren't eligible for the Stripe cards. So these are two that you'll need to do your own homework on, but these can be great options, especially if you're outside the U.S. Now, here is the one that's going to be the game changer, mainly for my friends in the US or anyone, I believe, that has an Amex. Don't quote me on that. It may, if you, let's say you have an Amex in the UK or an Amex in Canada, this may or may not work for you. I don't have that type of card. Obviously, I'm from the US, so I don't know fully, but I know this 100% works for Amex card holders inside the US. And it also works for, let's see, so if you have a bank or a credit card, right? That's a cool thing is you can plug a credit card into this. You don't need a prepaid. This is why I love this. So it says Visa, MasterCard. I don't know which ones that's eligible for. I've only plugged in my Amex. So I'm actually, after I go back and watch this video, I'm going to see if I can add some of my other cards that were not listed here, right? So let's log in, and then I'm going to explain some of the benefits. So the first one is that you basically take a card, right? So in this case, I took an Amex card. So here's my Amex card, right? And then once I have that verified and set up in the system, I can then generate virtual credit cards, right? So I'll just go here, create virtual cards. This one's like on an auto refill, but if it's just you using the card, the best thing to do is just to create the standard card, assign it to yourself. You could put a name on the card. Let's say I put John Castro. Usually I'll label the card, right? So if we're using it for Facebook, let's say the profile's name is Rob Michaels, okay? And then maybe I'll do like BM1 and then the ad account, okay? You put a limit. So how much do you want this card to be allowed to spend? Because what's going to happen is you're not prepaying with funds from your bank and then it's drawing from those funds. What's actually happening is you plugged in your Amex, so as this card gets charged, your Amex will get charged, but you also get your points. For everyone out there chasing points, that's super cool, right? So let's say I put a $1,000 limit on this. It defaults to being active for 30 days. Let's say I'm going to manage it, so I don't mind giving it a year. And then that's all you need to do. And now we have a virtual card, right? So check this out. So the card is right there. I could click that. And then now I'm going to blur this out because obviously that has my card number. I'll just deactivate it actually. It doesn't really matter. So here you go. And let's say it's going really well. You'll see transactions loading up here. So if I go to one of my other cards, you can see this one we've been spending with consistently. you can see all these charges coming from Facebook today, right? So like we just literally spent a couple $100 today on this one. You can see all different charges here. We just added to a recent card. Let's say I want to increase the amount of money on this card, right? So the amount of, let's say we burn all 5,000 of this. What we'll do next is we will actually, we will just edit this. So we will go to update virtual card. And then we would just increase the spend limit here. And we don't have to do anything else. We don't need to prepay funds. We don't need to go pay Amex. We're just giving this card more. It's almost like a Visa gift card, right? So it's like kind of like a prepayment. I guess you could say that without having to pay in advance, right? So we're basically just increasing the limit of how much this card can spend, which is super cool. It's super convenient. And then let's say Facebook shuts my ad account down or locks me on one of the profiles. All I need to do is I just need to go here and just deactivate this card, and then it's done, and I don't have to worry about it. And I'm not thinking, oh man, what happens now that I don't have access to that business manager or that ad account? If it's still spending, I'm screwed, right? So this is super cool, and I recommend that you do this immediately. This means you don't need to have a bunch of physical Amex cards laying around. It's amazing. And don't quote me on if or if not we can use other cards. Like I showed you from the website that Amex was one of the 5 or 6, but I also saw a Visa and MasterCard there. So I'm curious to know if I can actually take some of my other cards and do the same thing, because it's really a pain in the butt having like 20 Chase Inc. preferred business employee cards laying around. You get disorganized with everything. This is super clean. It feeds all the transactions to one card, which makes your accounting way less of a nightmare. Trust me, having like 70 Amex cards, all with money spent, is driving my accountant and CPA absolutely nuts. So make sure to check this out. I don't have like affiliate links, at least not right now, for any of this stuff, maybe for Amex. But nonetheless, I just want to make this video because I get this question all the time. What's the best virtual credit card? So I hope you're in the US so you could tap into what we showed here with Pay with Extend. This thing is amazing. It has all the perks and none of the downsides of having to drag around physical cards or having to wait for them to come in the mail. You could, like in the click of a few buttons, you can increase the limit, you could track the spend, you could cancel the card, you can make new ones. Literally a game changer. So I've even heard about people that they sign up for all the free trials and forget to cancel their cards. So they'll use either this system or one similar to it. They'll make a bunch of virtual cards with $1 limit, and then they'll use that for like Netflix free trials and stuff because they're super cheap. But obviously not my plan to use it. Just thought that was a funny side story with this. So make sure to check this out. I'll include the links to all these in the description of this video, and I'll see you in the next one.